Welcome back to the Anime Audit. This episode we are looking into One Piece, more specifically its main character, Monkey D. Luffy. I was able to uncover some information on Luffy that you wouldn't necessarily know unless you were a hardcore One Piece fan. Personally, I love all things One Piece and absolutely love getting to know more on Luffy and why Oda created him the way he is. Fact number 1. Luffy is the youngest member of the worst generation, and also the youngest Yonko, with Luffy being just 17 years old at the beginning of the anime and then 19 years old after the time skip. He is technically the youngest member of this elite group. The other youngest members are Zoro at age 21, Eustace Kid at 23, Jewelry Bonnie at 24 years old, and Trafalgar Law at 26-year-old. Luffy being so young shows that he's extremely talented and has nearly limitless potential. To have such a high bounty at such a young age and be this notorious just speaks volumes to his strength and his potential to become the Pirate King. Fact number 2. Luffy's number 0556 at the Corda Coliseum, where Luffy went undercover as Lucy to get the devil fruit that used to belong to Ace, represents the chapter in the manga in which he arrives at Marineford to save Ace. It's a clever little callback to Luffy's devil fruit as well. I think this is personally a nice touch and something that not everybody would catch. Fact number 3. Luffy has always been voted as the most popular character in One Piece. This goes to show that this young boy's childish nature isn't overshadowed by some of the more cool or more elite characters like Ace, Sabo, or Law, for example, or even Shanks. And members of his crew like Sanji and Zoro don't technically overshadow him, but it is worth noting that Zoro has been pretty close and is frequently the number 2 spot, but he's never taken the number 1 spot. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the manga and the anime. It is Luffy's show after all, and it would be a little awkward for another character to be more popular, but who knows what's going to happen in the rest of the series. Fact number 4. Luffy used to be an excellent swimmer. Well, that is until he ate the devil fruit that Shanks and his crew had secured. You might not actually know this depending on whether or not you read the manga or watched the anime. You see, it's not in the manga, but the anime references it pretty early on, and it's actually Yasop who brings up that just because Luffy's a good swimmer doesn't mean he'll make for a great pirate. It's also worth noting that Shanks also brings up that he can't become a pirate because he can't swim. It's interesting to see that, and it makes you wonder if we'll see some sort of foreshadowing later on. In fact number 5, we've got the fact that Luffy only gives out nicknames to characters who are really unimportant or he doesn't truly appreciate yet. Once they've gotten around to joining his crew or proving their worth, he starts to respect them. And now he might still refer to them as their nickname, but he doesn't really do that to his own crew, and I think it really highlights his childish and forgetful nature. But once he starts to truly respect them, or they've chosen to really work with Luffy or join the crew or truly believe in Luffy's cause, he takes time to learn their name. And you see that with Frankie being referred to as Speedo Guy and Chopper being seen as Reindeer or Meat. But as he starts to respect them, Luffy drops the nickname and truly welcomes them to his crew. For fact number 6, we've got something that you might already know, but Luffy's birthday is May 5th, which is celebrated in Japan as Children's Day. This is a nod to just how childish Luffy is, and I believe that Oda is really just showcasing to us that Luffy is a childish main character, but throughout the whole series, he's proven that he can step up and be an adult and take care of business as needed. That just showcases that his childish nature is actually beneficial, and it's better to tackle life through that lens rather than just constantly being doom or gloom. Luffy's a lovable character that really inspires his crew. Now, in fact number 7, we've got the fact that Luffy and One Piece as a whole were inspired by Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball. This connection has led to crossover episodes and nods to the success of each series, with Dragon Ball making references to One Piece in the anime and One Piece making references to Dragon Ball. Thanks to the crossover episode with Dragon Ball, we know that Luffy has a pure heart. He's seen sitting on top of the flying Nimbus, which can only be ridden by those with a pure heart. I think this is just a great nod to the success of both series, and personally, I didn't really enjoy the crossover episodes or really care too much for them. There wasn't much going on. But it's always fun to see that, and it's something that could be fun to see more in the future with other major animes. But it's a fun nod, and I think it's better to have these crossover episodes and these like subtle nods because it gets fans hyped up than to not have them at all. Now, in fact number 8, I've never actually wondered what Luffy would be doing in real life or where he'd be from, but it is interesting to see that Oda has actually come out and say that if Luffy was a real person living on Earth, he'd be from Brazil. Even more interesting is that his occupation would be a firefighter. Personally, I think that it's a weird occupation for such a lovable oaf, but he does love a good challenge. I guess it makes sense because every time he rolls into a new town, he's constantly putting out fires and saving people. You can see this with Doflamingo, or with Arlong Park, or Alabasta. Wherever Luffy goes, he's constantly putting out a fire and is up for the challenge, so I guess it does make sense. Now, in number 9, we all know that Luffy will eat just about anything. More importantly, meat, but you might not remember the one time where he truly hated what he ate. That time was in Mocktown, while he was sitting next to Blackbeard. I believe that he personally likes cherry pie, but he just hates this specific cherry pie from that little pub in Mocktown. I believe that Oda was just trying to show how vastly different Luffy and Blackbeard are as people, and not that Luffy just genuinely hates cherry pie, because why would he have ordered it if he absolutely hates it? I believe that Oda was just trying to show how vastly different Luffy and Blackbeard are as people, because they explicitly made it clear that the two had vastly different opinions on if the pie was good or not. This was just a nod to show that Blackbeard is the complete opposite of Luffy, that they're just going to butt heads and that he's going to be a villain in the future, because at that point we didn't know too much, and it's just interesting to note that Luffy does actually dislike one food, even if that one food is just from a very specific restaurant or pub in Mocktown. Now, for number 10, you might remember a few different instances where Luffy has been able to talk to animals, or at least understand what they're thinking. Luffy, Roger, and Momonosuke are the only ones currently known to possess this unique ability. I believe then it's going to be extremely important later on once they get to a final battle, or at some point where Luffy and his crew are in extreme danger. Now, for number 11, I want to highlight that Luffy's Japanese voice actress is pretty famous outside of playing Luffy. Now, she's been pretty busy with the rigorous voice acting schedule of One Piece, but she also voices Krillin and Yajirobe from Dragon Ball. As well, back in the 90s, she voiced Koenma from Yu Yu Hakusho. It is just an interesting thing to note that she's been successful outside of One Piece and, has quite a few different roles that are pretty major and have made big impacts on a lot of anime viewers' lives. Now, on the other hand, we've got Luffy's English voice actress, who is also pretty successful outside of One Piece. She voices Yaya Rozu from My Hero Academia, Urza from Fairy Tail, voices Gohan in Dragon Ball Z Kai. I think it's interesting that she was able to take such a major role. I mean, who didn't love that character? Now, for number 12, it's not surprising, but Luffy only bathes once a week. Luffy is joined in this exclusive and smelly club by Brook and Zoro. I wouldn't think bathing would be too high on this hero, this protagonist's to-do list, considering all the adventures and battles he's getting into, and not to forget training. I need to reconsider his life choices. I mean, can you imagine how smelly he would have to be? Now, for number 13, we've got the fact that Luffy never kills his enemies. Now, he might have or might not have killed a few different Marines, but Oda's made it clear in interviews that Luffy thinks that killing is too light of a punishment, and that the villain that he's fighting deserves to see their dreams or goals crushed before their eyes. It's a turn from the usual anime protagonist's moral code, but I still respect what he's trying to do here. It does fit with Luffy's childish nature that he has to prove that he's right, and that this is the only way to do that. It does make me wonder how this will hold up though once Luffy fights one of the 3 admirals that were responsible for Ace's death. I believe that he'd be totally justified in changing his whole demeanor here, that he could lose his cool and just go to town. In number 14, our last fact that I've got for you today is that, have you ever wondered how Luffy got that scar under his eye? Well, the manga reveals that Luffy actually stabbed himself in order to prove his toughness to Shanks. This was relatively early on, and it was something that was never shown in the anime. And I believe that makes a lot of sense. I mean, do you as the animators want to glorify this kind of behavior? I mean, there are tons and tons of kids out there that could potentially be watching One Piece, and it could lead to some kids stabbing their face. I mean, do you want to be responsible for that? I'm sure the 4Kids or the Funimation dub would not want to be responsible for that. They would be scared of any potential lawsuit. Well, that's all the facts that I have right now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to get notified the next time I post a video. Let me know in the comments which character I should do next.